Greetings, welcome to the SciFi Pubcast, the podcast that tries to be a pub, and perhaps someday a pub that tries to be a podcast. As always, we are looking for customers to come visit our bar. If you're passionate about something, you want to be on a podcast, well, let us know, because this bar is all about community. If you want to help us out, please consider leaving a 5-star review wherever you find the show and subscribing to our YouTube channel. I'm Joel. I'm the proprietor of the SciFi Pubcast, and with me at the bar today, we have our regular staff members, Keri Simpson and Derek Beebe. Hi, guys.
Hey,
Greetings.
I'm sorry. Wait. Who are you guys? I have no idea who you are anymore. Who are you? What are we doing here? I have no idea anymore. What is this? What is this?
Well, I'm a Vulcan, speaking in my natural Vulcan accent.
Yeah, we may have got visited by the health authorities. Yeah, just saying. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to go right off the bat and say, because I know what we're talking about today, and I have a semi good friend that I've met through another podcast network who is Irish, and I was offended on her behalf.
Yeah.
by that accent.
It was such a terrible accent. It was the leprechaun from my Lucky Charms cereal box, right? Okay, it's like, oh, come on.
Every Irish person I know is coming to kick my ass on behalf of themselves because of what that.
Okay, so what we're actually talking about today is Star Trek Section 31, if you haven't noticed on the title. And we are speaking about spoilers. So spoiler alert. Again, I want to be fair. I want to warn our customers that we are talking about the new Star Trek that just dropped on Paramount Plus called Star Trek Section 31. Yay! Okay, that's out of the way. Continue on, Keri. And let's,
yeah.
The poor Irish folks,
I thought the accent was very subtle. I'm a quarter Irish, so I'm allowed to say that.
Is that sarcasm? I can't tell anymore. I clearly need more to drink. I did debate whether or not to use up the last of my Romulan ale for this recording, because I wasn't sure I wanted to honor the movie with using up the last of it. I did kind of eventually decide on like half Romulan ale and half just generic vodka, because at least it looks blue-ish.
That's lovely.
And there is a Death Star ice cube in there, because why the hell not?
I like that. All right. Before I'll explain why we have been doing podcast episodes, because it's all on me, of course. I'm the proprietor. I take responsibility. So, Keri, how's life in not Southern Ontario, that's me, Southern California? Okay. I understand there's some wildfires recently down there.
Yeah. Well, it's raining. It's finally raining. Mother Nature has decided to have some pity on us. I posted during the height of the fires, I posted a couple of pictures to friends and family, like greetings from northern Mordor, because it just looked, even in my neck of the woods, which didn't get a whole lot of the smoke, but it just looked like evil and gross, and it's like I was getting texts from you. I was getting texts from other friends. I was getting messages from all over the place, like, Keri, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. There would have to be a lot of shit that went very wrong for the fires to get to where I am. But the smoke, I've spent a week feeling like I was back in the 80s and living in the smoking section of a restaurant.
Great.
As one used to do, because we all three of us, I think, are old enough to remember the yellow stains on everything from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise I'm fine. Most of the people I talk to are fine. I don't know anyone personally who lost anything, which, knock on Puerto board is good. It's like I said, it's raining now. It's been raining since last night. So hopefully that just helps put out the fires.
Yeah. My understanding, there's a whack of folks from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, or the JPL, who lost their homes, as well as from the Planetary Society. Yeah. And plus, we see on the news, there was a lot of celebrities or just working actors or film people who also suffered greatly. Yes. So, yeah, my heart goes out for these folks. And Los Angeles, what else can happen to Los Angeles in 2025? I don't know. No, I'm not jinxing it.
Knock on wood.
No, stop it, Joel.
All right, okay. Now we have Derek. Derek Beebe, man, how you doing? What's happening in the hills of Pennsylvania?
Regular life hasn't been great for the most part this year, but the bright spot has been I've been self-publishing my books. I just published book 4 of my Dynasty High Fantasy series. Book 5 is coming out in February. Book 6 is coming out in March.
Wow.
Nice.
So that's my bright spot.
Where can people find your books to buy it?
Only on Amazon.com. Necessary Evil.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so it's been a while, but I still, sure, the pub is, I'm running in half-ass nowadays, which is on me. But I still have to ask you, Derek, how is our kitchen doing since you're in charge of the SciFi Pubcast's kitchen?
Well, once again, it was locked away and sealed off for several months. So when you go back in, there's always a little bit of an exploration there. I found some nanokins I had to get out of there. And okay, so in the movie when they go to make contact with Giorgio and they offer her that kind of like glittering drug dust thing.
Yeah.
Well, I came up with a version of that to sell because this is absolutely true. I just read on the news that the makers of Skittles are being sued because there's a chemical in the food coloring of the Skittles shell that causes genotoxicity, which means it damages your DNA. So what I did was I scraped the covering off of a bunch of Skittles and made it into like a powder dust for people to, snort.
Sweet.
Yeah. Should have quite the effect on them.
Oh, God. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. Okay.
I think maybe I need to go grab my jazz gummies at this point. Just to be able to.
Might even be life altering.
Yeah,
great. Right out.
I'm getting off of a bad sinus cold, and I'm still drinking coffee. But really, I need to find my bottle of bourbons around somewhere. Okay.
Well,
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My desire. Once again, I'm going to be spending the next 2 to 4 years, balancing between my desire to stay informed and my desire to stay sober. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can relate. All right. What's happening with me? My update. So our last episode was, 6-7 months ago. I'm very, very sorry. So I'm bogged down doing my dissertation for my PhD in law at Western University. My supervisor is Randa Graham. Part of my dissertation is that I've been doing research interviews. So I've been doing a lot of traveling because I'm trying to meet people face to face as much as possible. So I'm blowing my life savings crisscrossing the United States, which I did again recently. And then I flew out to Seattle, Washington State, to interview someone out there. So that's what I've been doing. I've been bogged down with that. Plus December, it was all holidays and Christmases. I work as a bartender at the graduate student bar at Western University, which means I get busy during Christmas season, and I also host karaoke. So I've dressed up as Santa Claus several times during December to attend parties and make people happy, to bring joy to people. This is what I do. Dear God.
It's a difficult job, but someone's got to do it.
Absolutely.
You're like Walter Valori, but with less hair.
Yeah, exactly. I like to say at my advanced age of 51, because I just had my birthday last week, I am an informal mentor to the young people and youth of society, because I spend all my time dealing with graduate students.
Oh, you poor man.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that having just fully embraced the idea that I've pretty much turned myself into dojo auntie. So,
Yeah. So there's that. Random Graham sends his regards. He's great. He's just a very, very busy person, and I don't particularly see him very often because he's so busy. But I am going on the Star Trek cruise later this month, so I'll be spending some quality time with Randall. So it'll be fun. Yeah, so I'm doing that. This is going to be my third cruise, so it leaves out of Miami. It goes to a couple places in the Caribbean, including Mexico and Belize, and it'll be good. I'm not buying the drink package, the alcohol drink package, because it's so expensive, and I'm really trying to drink less nowadays. So I'll be buying individual drinks instead. We'll see how that goes along.
I'd ask, who are you and what have you done with Joel? But I seem to remember a certain Star Wars celebration where you drinking heavily didn't go so well for you. So
there's that, and that because of other health issues. So there's that. So yeah. So there's this. Oh, also Star Wars celebration. I'll be going to Japan, so that's in April. Looking forward to it. Spending more money. So first time in Asia. Yeah. So if you check out my face, like when I travel, I take a whack of photographs, which I upload to Facebook to make my aunts happy. But if you want to see my photographs, please just friend me on Facebook. I also post some of them on Instagram and other social media. But really, the photo dumps, it happens on Facebook. And I'm under my own name, Joe Welch. Go figure. But it's not. Go ahead.
You're one of the few reasons I stay around Facebook anyway. So.
Oh, good. I don't particularly care for the platform, but it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a bunch of friends who are leaving this year because of reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh well, but we're not here to talk about Facebook or my travels or Derek's book. Yes, actually, we're here to talk about Derek's book. We should do an episode on that. Yeah, we can. Let's do it because I'm still paying for the hosting costs. So Derek, maybe anytime you want. Derek, let's talk about your new book. But we're here to talk about Star Trek Section 31, and there are no secrets here. Here is H-E-R-E. Well, also H-E-A-R. Whatever works, doesn't matter. So what the fuck just happened with this thing, man? I watched it twice. And
okay,
Keri, you have feelings. Let's hear about your feelings about Section 31. Okay.
Station was pretty.
Yeah.
The station was gorgeous. I wanted to go. I wanted to go hang out at that station because it looks like. I mean, it looks like you extrapolate from that to the Starfleet home station at in the last 2-3 seasons of Star Trek Discovery. I'm like, yeah, okay, I see where I see the evolution of that aesthetic, and it's really, really cool. Michelle Yeoh, she's fabulous. I love it. I was semi-confused about. Okay. I realized that Control probably either doesn't know that Giorgio went to the future with the rest of the Discovery, or if Control does know that Giorgio went to the future with the rest of the Discovery, it's either been locked away or segmented somewhere, like redacted somewhere in Control's memory, but there's no explanation for, she went to the future, she came back. How long has it been since she left? I mean, it's been obviously been long enough that Rachel Garrett could be a lieutenant in Starfleet, and we don't know when Rachel Garrett became captain of the Enterprise C. But explain. So this feels like it should have been the pilot for a series on Section 31.
But they changed their minds.
Yeah,
it was, but okay. Yeah. So it definitely feels like it was a pilot for a series on Section 31, and that maybe if they had actually gotten a full series, they might have explained some of this. But it's not pilot for a series. It's a standalone movie, and I don't know what are we supposed to do with this?
Okay, I'll stop you there because we are going to go down that rabbit hole like you wouldn't believe. But we're talking about Star Trek Section 31, right? So it was supposed to be a series, then COVID happened, and then the actor strike happened, and it actually was filmed in Mississauga, Ontario at the CBS Soundstage, which is basically part of the Greater Toronto Area. So basically where I'm from, that area of Ontario. I'm actually from Niagara Falls, but let's not mince words right now. But details. But okay, so when does this series film take place on the timeline?
Exactly, we don't know.
So online they say it's by year 23-24. So it's in between Star Trek the original series, but before Star Trek the Next Generation.
Which the movie itself, does not explain at all. Like I had to read that afterwards. I was like, wait, this takes place like 50 years after the original Discovery timeline? What?
Yeah. So
like I said, the only marker we have for a timeline is the fact that Rachel Garrett, who becomes the captain of the Enterprise C in yesterday's Enterprise, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't remember offhand like when that takes place in the timeline.
Exactly.
Because it's obviously way before Next Generation.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really like tell me anything.
Yeah, we don't know how long it took her to go from lieutenant to captain.
Yeah. We have a start date. It's 1292.4, but what does that actually mean? Who knows, right?
I mean, they were obviously going out of their way to make it casual viewer friendly and not trying to get bogged down in continuity. So it's just something that you're supposed to just watch and enjoy and not think too closely about. But yeah, like for me, trying to figure out like when does this take place and wait, I thought Giorgio like met the Guardian of Forever and disappeared into a time portal, and like they make no mention of that whatsoever. So that's all very confusing if you're trying to think closely about it. But if you look at the film just as like a superficial fun action piece, I think it works on that merit. It just gets, confusing when you try to dig down and think about where it fits into things.
Right. Yeah, I think if it was 12 years old, which I'm certainly not, but maybe my soul and heart is, I would enjoy it. But to me, it's like, no, it's a misfire. And I'm looking at it. I don't think Section 31 as the film knew what it wanted to be. Was it supposed to be an Ocean 11 takeoff? Was it supposed to be a Dirty Dozen or a Seven Samurai, homage? Mission Impossible. What do you think about the intros of each chapter, each scene with a Mission Impossible type setup?
Yeah, I just assumed that was because this was originally supposed to be a 3-episode premiere, and they just like kept that format.
Element. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was thinking too. Yeah. It's that kind of works. Like if this was like the first 3 episodes of a series, or if this was the pilot episode of a series, and this was going to be like the format going forward, but without something more to build off of, like, what are we doing?
Yeah. I can see why it wasn't a theatrical release. It was just on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've been so busy. So last week is, right, another Star Trek's coming out. Okay, film. Okay. So I actually checked the Cineplex, which is the big movie chain in Canada. Is it going to the theater? It's like I couldn't find it. It's like, right, it's just streaming on Paramount Plus. That explains it. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it looked very good. Like it certainly had great production values. The sets and the action and everything looked great.
Yeah,
most of it did. Yes.
I really like the cool lounge bar on the Bram space station, and I like the fact. And I think the show did a great job with the music background. This is new. Yeah.
I actually didn't like that. I didn't like hearing like contemporary kind of music like in the Star Trek future. I thought that kind of like broke the fourth wall for me.
Yeah, t-shirt.
It was okay. That for me was okay. I was trying to go back to okay. So I don't know if I've been listening to many of the Mission Log podcasts or not, but every time I saw the Baram or Baram on the name on screen, I kept because Mission Log Genealogy is doing they're doing Gene Roddenberry's first series, Wrangler, which is like the first series that he created and got filmed and everything. And the first episode is called Episode at the Bar M. So I was like, I kept like unintentionally misreading the name of the station as Bar M, and I've got yeah. But this is how my brain works when I'm sober, by the way.
And my question is, what's up with the French thing? Madame Veronique Duc-Franc.
I just assumed that was something from Discovery season 1 I was forgetting, because I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why the use of French is just. Is it just because the showrunners were trying to set the tone of the film? Was it because they're trying to make the place to like a classy 19th century salon? I don't know, but it just did not work.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah, I did like the black half white face guy. I'm suspect from the planet Chiron from the Star Trek original series episode. Let that be your last battlefield. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah. There were a lot of really cool alien references that we don't get to see, like a Cameloid from Star Trek VI, a Deltan from Star Trek Motion Picture. Others I'm forgetting at the moment.
You did get Deltans in the second season of Picard, though. So and third season.
Oh, I forgot about that. But yeah, it was really cool to see those kind of like old school, rarely seen alien races. That was a good touch.
Andorians, I love Andorians. Okay, but the black and white guy, his character's name is Virgil, played by Augusto Bitter. I thought it was okay. It was neat. I like that.
Yeah.
I like sometimes like corny works for me. If it's corny enough, I like it. This wasn't corny.
And the main guy was an augment from the Eugenics Wars, so that was another cool reference.
Yeah.
That was also really cool. I like that and he was also out of time. So I was like waiting for some kind of reference to Enterprise. Yeah. Or something like that. But or a reference to Khan. Because why not?
Yeah.
And if we're throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall, then we should just throw everything at the wall.
Yeah.
And as go ahead.
No, go ahead, Derek. Go ahead.
As stupid as the Irish accent was, I did think that the idea of like a little tiny microscopic alien controlling a robot body was a very cool idea. Obviously, it was straight out of Men in Black, the first movie, but I thought that was a really cool idea to put into Star Trek, and it made for an interesting villain as well, because like you can't like really destroy him because he's too tiny and he can like take over bodies and stuff. So I thought that was a very clever idea that they used well.
If there was only a way to kill bacteria in real life.
Yeah. Okay, here is the only way I could possibly give the accent a pass. And my thinking is that what's his name? Zeph. Is it Zeph?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was not the robo suit guy.
That's a robo suit guy.
Yeah. That's Quasi. Fuzz. Yeah.
Buzz. Yeah. Okay.
Played by.
See, this is how unmemorable most of the characters are. It's like I didn't even bother to learn names. Okay, Fuzz is either being intentionally racist,
but then his wife had the outrageous Southern accent as well.
Yes. He's either being intentionally racist with his accent, or he just doesn't care enough to try and make the accent authentic.
I think that's just his native accent where he comes from, and it just happens to sound like a cartoonishly outrageous Irishman to us, to our ears.
But then why does his wife sound like cartoonishly outrageously Southern?
Because she was from the southern part of the continent where they come from.
Yeah, maybe there's Southern Irish there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
God, it's almost like I want to speak the rest of the podcast with an Irish accent, but the fake accent I do is always, it's not from the south of the Republic. It's a northern accent because it asks everything like a question. That's how I do an Irish accent.
Oh, God.
I have a lot of Irish in me, so there we go. Yeah. All right.
So it sounds like the two of you did not like it on the whole. Then.
No.
Yeah.
It was okay. It was. I spent a lot of the movie going, what the fuck am I watching?
I thought the action scenes, the chase scenes, they were adequate. I think it was an okay film if you're 12 years old, but as a thick and Star Trek guy, it just did not feel like Star Trek to me. Like,
no, it didn't.
Like it made me think of the J.J. Abrams movies, which don't really feel Star Trek either, but they're, they're really cool, flashy action movies. Like I thought that the action scenes were cool, like the whole phase fight where, some people are out of phase and some are not. I thought that was a very interesting idea to do. And I thought the whole like trying to figure out who the killer is was a cool little sequence, and it ended with a pretty cool, starship chase. So like I thought the action scenes were very flashy and very well done and looked like $1 million. So I felt like it succeeded on that level at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean for that, something like that though, I think it would have worked better as like a Star Wars movie than Star Trek movie. That's just me.
But that's the whole notion of the whole JJ reboot of Star Trek, though, to like make it into Star Wars. And I would argue that the Discovery series also kind of like keeps using that JJ mindset with it as well.
Mm.
What I don't like is that I'm watching it, and like every other scene is going to be either it's a ripoff, one version, or they're paying homage to another, like movies. Like, okay, Games of Power, Hunger Games, right off the bat. Then trash compactor or something in the trash. That's Star Wars: A New Hope, or the tolerance to poison gimmick, right? The Princess Bride. So it's these tired plot devices used, and it's intentional. And is it intentional because they're paying homage, or intentional because they're lazy, like lazy writing? I don't know.
Why not both?
Yeah, exactly.
I did after a fashion appreciate some of the backstory about Giorgio. I thought the requirements to become emperor in the Terran Empire were heartbreaking. It is still a little over the top, and I still don't get why San just didn't like, why it took San so long to like rebel.
Because he's turning the other cheek. Literally. Hot blade against his right cheek. Like, what's up with that?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I also I'd like the most Star Trek line in the show, and something that is probably very necessary to repeat a lot in the next few years, is that there are no benevolent dictators.
Yeah.
I thought that was very, very spot on and very, very necessary especially at the moment. But otherwise, like I didn't understand like how this ties into Trek as a whole, unless they were trying to, I don't know, clean up Section 31 a bit before it falls off the rails again when we get to Deep Space Nine.
Yeah,
that was one thing that confused me about it, because like I said, I enjoyed the movie on a superficial level, but it didn't really feel like a Section 31 story. It just felt like why couldn't have this just been like Starfleet Black Ops? They say at the beginning, like, well, it's in this region of space where Starfleet is not allowed to go, but then Rachel Garrett was on the team, so Starfleet did go there.
Well, She was there to make sure that the rest of the team didn't kill anyone.
Right, but they were still sending a Starfleet officer on a team to invade this thing. So like that kind of, and also, I assume that since it was Section 31, that they would want to, that there would be a whole thing about like, oh, we're going to keep the bioweapon for ourselves, or we're going to use this on the Klingons or something like that. But no, they just wanted to destroy it. So like, it didn't really feel like a Section 31 story in any way. And then the other thing was, while the various characters on the team were very, colorful and interesting and everything, they didn't feel like Section 31 characters. Because when I think of Section 31, and obviously I'm drawing a lot on the books that aren't canon as well, but when I think of Section 31, I think of like very serious, conservative military people who, don't take power for themselves, or like, they're soldiers, they're stone cold killers. They're doing this for the greater good of the Federation, so having all these cartoonish characters very felt at odds at what we think of as Section 31.
Well, okay, so I obviously haven't read those books, but I mean, I think of Section 31 and I think of amoral people like Sloane.
Right, but they're also, competent and serious, and they're like the cream of the crop.
They're competent, serious, but they also are not above, killing people that they think need to be killed, or committing genocide to protect the Federation and stuff like that. I mean, it's kind, and I've seen this argument in other places with regards to just Section 31 existing in general, is that it's kind of lazy writing to have Jean's vision of a more perfect, I guess, union or more perfect human society that's built on the back of this secret organization that is willing to kill to get what it wants.
I definitely hear that argument a lot, and I understand it, but I personally like the idea of Section 31. I think it makes sense. I think, obviously Star Trek is supposed to be aspirational fiction, but I do think it's a little crazy to say, like, oh, all humans are good and noble now. But the other thing about that, though, is that even within like every series of Star Trek, we have so many corrupt officers and evil admirals and stuff. So, it's not like, Section 31 is like a new concept of having these like corrupt or selfish officers, even within Starfleet, let alone the civilian population. So it doesn't bother me, but I certainly understand the argument that it is a betrayal of what Star Trek is about.
Oh, no, I understand completely. The cynic in me understands the necessity for Section 31 or an organization like Section 31, even in Starfleet, where we're supposed to be better than the humans of this century. But that is at war with my need to see the future in the way that Star Trek portrays the future, as like we're all better than what we are now, because otherwise human, like that, the idea of how humans evolve in Star Trek is very, very hopeful, and without that, it's like if we do put Section 31 on the board as a factor in that, what's to stop us from turning into Babylon 5 or The Expanse?
I think my take is that Section 31, I don't mind. I'm with Derek in the sense that, to me, sure, that makes sense. You need some sort of, agency which is admirable. Sorry, my cold.
Admirable?
No. Without morality, or like just
amoral.
Yeah.
I can't breathe through my nose right now. I'm sorry, guys. I'm doing my best. Okay. But what struck me with this series is that they're so incompetent. Like, they're so incompetent.
Yeah.
Like, no. Yeah. In this show, yeah.
It's like, what? They're so incompetent. They're not even scary. It's like, Yeah, they'll make the first front page of whatever media that they use in Star Trek in the 23rd century. It's like, what?
No, and some of them are downright stupid. I mean, Zeph, like, what was that guy? What was the mech's purpose in any of this? Like, just to be the big dumb guy who, you know, gets sent out to, like, you know,
he's there to knock walls down.
He's the artillery, you know.
But the funny thing though is that the main guy is an augment, so they already have a super strong guy on the team. So they have two super strong guys on the team.
But he's the super strong guy who can, you know, blend into a crowd, whereas Zeph is the super strong guy who stands out and is, I guess they used him as a distraction.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, he was basically there to get taken over by the nano guy. You know, that's what he was there for.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the term they use, Chaos Goblin, in reference to is it Raquel Garrett or Rachel Carroll?
Rachel
Garrett. Okay. Because to me, it's like, the entire show is a Chaos Goblin. Okay.
Yeah,
it's a metaphor.
Yeah, perfect. That is a perfect description of this movie. It's like, it is a Chaos Goblin.
Yeah. I know about the humor. You know, I like humor. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But to me, it's like the humor was okay, but just misplaced. The pacing wasn't great. Like, I didn't mind the fact that for example, the banter between Godsend and God's End. You know, what do you call this device? To me, is that okay? They're breaking the fourth wall. They're making fun of the genre by doing that. But it's not Mel Brooks by any means.
No, it's not. Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, that was, I mean, I don't know. I have no defense of that. I have no defense of that whatsoever.
Yeah.
I did like that we get a Kamaloid. I think that the Kamaloid was not used to his fullest potential.
Right.
Because and that this might be just, you know, not having the special effects budget for it, but like, we know that Kamaloids can take other forms. We know that Kamaloids can, you know, infiltrate, you know, and pretend to be something they're not. Why did we not see more of it? Why was Alak not used more effectively?
Yeah. To me, like, the show would work better if it was darker. It wasn't dark enough.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about genocide.
Yes.
And to me, when I originally heard the idea, oh, look, Paramount is going to do a Section 31 show, like, I'm loving it because I'm about realism. You know, I love The Expanse. And to me, it's like, okay, let's get on something, but it's not dark enough.
Yeah, they made it very jokey. I think they were really just trying to reach like a casual audience, just make it like a fun Marvel style kind of jokey action piece without, you know, digging into the continuity too deeply on anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's, and yeah, that could be all fine and good, but Section 31 is already so much established in Trek lore that you kind of need to have. Okay, established is probably not the right word. There's enough background on Section 31 that you kind of need to have seen other things. You need to have seen at least, you know, the first 2 seasons of Disco. You need to have seen at least the episodes of DS9 that introduced Section 31 in order to get some understanding of what Section 31 is and what it became, and whether or not it continued after. But it's just, and you know, by the time we get to Deep Space Nine, is like Section 31 is something that hardly anyone knows about, except for the people who are still in Section 31 and maybe a couple of the top brass. How did it get to that?
Yeah.
How did it get from end of Discovery season 2, where it basically is known to be the Black Ops of Starfleet, to Deep Space Nine, where they don't, like almost no one knows about it anymore, but it's still operating with like almost no guardrails.
I was confused about that as well, because I was trying to remember back in Disco, which I haven't seen in a while. Is Section 31 just like public knowledge? Because I thought it was still a secret.
Yeah, it seemed like it was more public knowledge in Disco. So it seems like, between Enterprise and Discovery, it became more public knowledge, and then sometime between Disco and DS9, it went underground again. So how did that evolution happen?
Actually, I did read an article on the Wikipedia page. There was a quote from the guys making this, saying that the intention of this series was to tell the story of how Section 31 evolved into what we saw in Deep Space Nine, an underground organization. So had this been a TV series, that's what they would have covered.
So we have even more reason to be disappointed that we didn't get a full series out of this. Yeah. Okay.
Well, folks, what do you think? Do we want more films along the same Section 31 lines, or do you want a series, or do you think this is going to die on the vine, basically?
Well, it's all about the ratings.
Yeah. I think unfortunately it is going to die on the vine, because it was not really that good. And I mean, there were some bright spots, and we discussed the bright spots, but it was, again, I sat there most of last night going, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah, I saw it twice, and the second time it was tough. It was tough to watch a second time, I can tell you that. It
was hard to watch once. Yeah. I cheered at the end when we got to the end, and I got to see the station again, because again, I love that station. That is gorgeous. I want to see more stations like that in Star Trek. I want to see more designs like that. And I'm not a design geek by any sense of the imagination, by any sense at all. But
right.
That was gorgeous. Like, give me more of that, please. But we're probably not gonna get it, and that's just the reality of stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a question about the nature of the plot that I didn't follow. So they never really explain what the weapon is, but it is some kind of like a virus or a bioweapon, right?
They never explained what it was. They just said it would wipe out all life. They didn't even say how big the blast radius would have been.
I thought it was a virus, because when San handed it to her in the flashback, like his nose starts bleeding and he falls over dead.
Because he took the poison that her family took. That's why.
Oh, I thought it was that he was exposed to the weapon.
No.
Oh, okay. No. So they never gave any explanation of the nature of the device at all.
No. And I kept thinking, okay, maybe this is what, since this is. That's the other thing that confused me, is because Sand seems to have not aged very much between when he died and when he meets up with Giorgio again, and I don't know, like, human lifespan, especially in the Terran Empire, can't be that much more than human lifespan in the Prime universe. But we don't know how long Giorgio was moved into the future from the past.
Oh, you're right. I didn't even think about that, because this is like 50 years later.
Yeah.
Like
that doesn't make that, like, how did he get to that point? when it took Giorgio going into the future and then back to the past, and you can't see my hands on my desk trying to, like, well, you probably can see part of it, but like the tiny rhyminess of it is just that doesn't make any sense. I did have a thought that, okay, maybe this is because I assume that this is sometime after Mirror Mirror, right? So maybe this is what wipes out part of the Terran Empire, and this is why things have gone sideways when we get back to the Terran Empire in DS9. When we get back to the Mirror Universe in DS9.
Now, the thing about that is, in that episode, they say that it was Spock's fault. Like, Spock created a kinder empire, which led to it being destroyed and taken over by the Klingons and the Cardassians.
Yeah, but this probably didn't help.
Yeah, that's true. That's the other thing that I was confused about. So, at the end of the movie, San's plan was to use the bomb on our universe to take them out, and so that he could then conquer it via the mirror universe. And then they took the bomb and they sent it back through the wormhole, and they made it seem like Giorgio and what's his name were going to die in the explosion, but then they were fine. And at first I was like, wait, are they sending it through to the mirror universe to blow up the mirror universe? But then at the end, when they were fine, what?
That's what it looked like. That's what they looked like doing.
Well, my interpretation at the end, when they walked away perfectly okay, was that instead of sending it through the mirror universe, what they did was they simply detonated it within the wormhole. So all they did was collapse the wormhole so that the two sides couldn't pass over anymore. Did you get that impression, or am I just making that up? Okay.
I mean, that's about as good an explanation as anything we're going to get out of this. So, yeah. I mean, it was, the fact that they survived is, last minute transporter miracles, but,
Yeah. See, that would have been another instance where you could have made this a better Section 31 story if the plan all along was for Section 31 to steal this bomb and then send it to the mirror universe to kill them because they were a threat to our universe. That would have been a cool Section 31 story, but they never do that.
They never did that either.
Wow, Derek, you are dark, man. You're dark.
Yeah.
And like basically like the Section 31 crew knew all along that was the plan, but they never told Giorgio because they thought she would fight them since that's her home universe. And then she finds out at the end and she tries to fight them or something, like that would have been a more interesting story.
I think, and this is just, again, speculation because we have no idea what happened, between her coming back in season 3 of Disco and them finding her again. But I think that she's gotten slightly more evolved, or I would say, or she'd probably say infected by the Prime universe.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's not quite as immoral or amoral as she used to be.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while, but I believe, wasn't that the whole point of the Guardian of Forever 2-parter? It was supposed to make her a better person before it sent her away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed to be, but who knows?
Oh, wow. Okay, folks, any last thoughts before we close the doors to the pub?
Well, I thought it was enjoyable on a superficial level. Obviously, there's problems with ink and dig on it. You two seem to be much more negative on it, but I had a good time.
If I take my brain off the hook for a while, it was a fun movie. I'm not, but it's a movie that is a Star Trek movie. So, and I talk about this a lot. I try not to have a whole lot of expectations because having a whole lot of expectations tends to end up with you getting punched in the face, sometimes literally. But Star Trek has a certain reputation, and this does not fit that reputation. It's not that it's not a great movie. It is a movie to put on and just not think for a while. But Star Trek typically is something that makes you think about morals and where we what is the right thing to do, and this didn't feel like that for the most part.
That's fair.
Yeah. It's gorgeous. It's pretty. We got a nice Jamie Lee Curtis cameo at the end. That was great.
Yeah, that was so weird because like she looked like she was like a Borg or something. She had all this metal stuff on her head. Like, so is she being controlled by the control AI or something? I mean,
no. She's the control. So
right. But like control was an AI in the time of disco. So like, is she control because that like is the AI like, you know, controlling her body, or like, you know, and she's in symbiosis with it or something? Then obviously this would have been explored more in any future stories. But yeah, that was a real what now moment.
Yeah, no idea.
With me,
it was neat to see her. I did see a brief like, hey, Section 31 includes a everything everywhere all at once cameo, and I just turned it off. I just turned off my feed for a bit after that. I was like, okay, I'm not even gonna look at this until I see the movie, because I thought it was gonna be either Ki Hui Kwan or the girl who played her daughter. But I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis is also a very valid cameo for that. So it was cool, but again, not sure where that was going. Yeah. And what were you saying, Joel?
Well, first thing, I just saw Jamie Lee Curtis in one of the season 1 of Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. She was in the 6th. Yeah, she's a young woman at the time.
Oh yeah.
It was so fun because I have it on a Blu-ray, so I've been going to the Buck Rogers episodes. Nice. But
I did that. I made like those pretty early in the pandemic, really, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But my thing with this whole Section 131 film is that the monsters weren't particularly scary. The stakes were like whatever, and at least it had a bar. There's that.
Yeah, and the bar was pretty.
Great.
Yeah.
So that's my takeaway. Okay. All right. Let's shut our doors down. This show is available on most podcast platforms and on YouTube. Subscribe today. You can contact us by email at management@scifipubcast.space. We love hearing from our customers. So, where can people find us on social media? Let's go with Keri. Where can find people?
I've left Twitter. I mean, my handle's probably still there, but I haven't been on the platform since, November or so. But if anywhere, I can be found anywhere that I am on social media at Keri Blackfire 42. That's Keri Blackfire 42.
Excellent. And Derek, yourself?
I also left Twitter. I went to Blue Skies, which is functionally identical to Twitter. So if you're looking for an alternative, just go there. And I believe I'm at Derek J. Beebe there as well. And my website is derekbeebe.com, and you can find my books on Amazon.
Excellent. And first thing, what books are you talking about, Derek? You're talking
about
the
Dynasty High Fantasy Young Adult series. Book 4 was just published. Book 5 is coming in a couple of weeks now, actually. And then Book 6, which ends the series, will come out at the beginning of March.
Excellent. And nice. I forgot to ask Keri. Keri, what other podcasts are you on? I haven't asked you this question in a while. So
months, it seems like.
Well, I'm also on Cape Chronicles, Enter the Dojo, and when I get around to recording it, DC Talk over on the Random Chatter Network.
Excellent. With me, I'm on social media. I'm still on Twitter/X. I'm all over the place. I'm my real name. I have a dislike for social media, but I'm a news addict, so there's that. Okay. So, but honestly, if you want to send us a message, probably the best way to get to the show is through the email, which is management@scifipubcast.space. It's closing time. Take care. Please make it home safe. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Live long and prosper.
Music provided courtesy of Logan Rathbone. Podcast logo by Duran. Copyrighted Joe Welch. Listen responsibly, and we can't wait for your next visit to our fine establishment. Cheers.